Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. Today is day 7 of StitchMiss 2025 and I have two fun cards to share with you today. Day 7 for both 2025 and 2024 featured a sentiment, so I took that opportunity to incorporate some other favorite products from Spellbinders. We're going to start by opening up our day 7 for our 2025 box, and it is this awesome fa la 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 la. It's actually just fa la, but I can't say fa la without la la. So we're going to take our letters here and lay everything out, and then we're going to plan our card. I absolutely love the new dies from the Spellbinders Merry Mischief collection. So for our first card, we are going to combine the cute little tree pup with the fa la 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 la. Now I've die cut my components from different colors of cardstock, and we are going to actually start by building our pup first today, and then we're going to stitch our letters and finish off the card with a glimmered background and an additional stamped sentiment. Now I want to talk a little bit about why I chose this particular die set for today's dies. When I was looking at these new die sets and just trying to kind of formulate or come up with an idea for my fa la 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 la, because you can do this in a lot of different ways, I noticed that the sentiment from this stamp set, and this particular one is called Deck the Paws, and that is what inspired this card, because Deck the Paws with Love and Lights, fa la 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 la, felt like it went together. Don't you guys think? So I went ahead and picked it today because I thought it was too cute. So I have die cut my pup from Fawn and Alabaster cardstock. I did ink it up with a little bit of Simon Says Stamp cookie ink, and I even used that same color around the star that goes around the top of the pup's head. I love all these little pieces, and I especially love that Spellbinders has started adding the layering pieces for back behind the eyes and things. It makes assembly a snap. For my tree, I really contemplated so many different cardstock colors. It's kind of ridiculous, but I ended up going with a minty color because all of the rest of the colors for my card just felt like they went with that better than a traditional green color. So for this particular card, we're going to have this really happy, bright mint colored tree that I'm inking up with some Simon Says Stamp jade ink around the edges. And then we're going to, of course, adorn the tree with like white tinsel and strings of adorable little lights. This pup continues to be so popular from Spellbinders. They have lots of different ones now. There's the Halloween versions, the Christmas versions, just so cute. And the sweet little face is perfect for any dog lover. The white tinsel around the tree is some white glitter cardstock. The strings for the lights was die cut from brushed silver cardstock, and then I used an assortment of the colored cardstock that I am using for the fa la la for the little teeny tiny lights. And you can see I've got loads of them there on my desk, and this is where an embellishment wand is really going to come in handy for assembly of all of those different little parts and pieces. I think my favorite part of our adorable little puppy is, of course, the tongue sticking out of its mouth. I just think it is absolutely precious. And these go together so quick and easy. You are going to want to add Deck the Paws to your collection, especially if you have any of the other dies with this adorable little pup. Now, once we have all of our bright, happy lights in place, we're going to start working on the rest of our card. I decided I wanted to take the Artic Glimmer from the July 2025 Glimmer of the Month Club kits and glimmer the snowflakes on my background using white foil. If you've never seen me use the white foil before, the white foil is my favorite currently. That and probably opal are my two most used, most favorite colors. I also decided to go ahead and put glossy accents on the nose and the eyes of my pup so that it can be drying while I'm working on glimmering and stitching. Stitching provides some fun texture and added interest to your cards. Today's card features glimmering, die cutting, and stitching, plus even a little stamping. But overall, it's a pretty simple design. One of the things I love about the white foil on the background of our card here, once I have that glimmered, and I like to kind of do double duty, so I'm stitching while it's heating up. But what I love about it is it adds some subtle interest without overpowering the design, the focus of the card, which is our stitched letters, and of course our little Deck the Paws pup. I'm doing little X's down the letters. I have chosen embroidery floss to match each of my letters as well. I picked 4 different colors. We're using red on the red letter. We're going to use the same color of pink floss on each of our pink letters, the same color of blue floss. No, that's a lie. We used a teal on the teal letter, a mint color on the mint, and green on green. So 5 different colors today. I used the pink twice. And then we're going to glue each of the stitched letter to the shadow of the letter. Now I did do a contrast color. Ooh, look at that glimmer. You guys, I love this glimmer plate so much. This was in the July 2025 club, but it is available for individual purchase, and I highly recommend picking it up for all of your winter and Christmas crafting. So what I love about the shadows for each of my letters today, instead of doing the same color, because it really provides a shadow, this is a great opportunity to do a contrast color and really add some interest. Just like I've talked about in some of my other videos, if you don't want to stitch, make sure all the little holes are punched out and just layer that cardstock right over a contrast color of cardstock, and you just get this really awesome little peak of color through each of those little die cut holes instead, and that is cute as well. So I am only going to do a couple more of these, kind of a little sped up, and then we're going to speed this up quite a lot because I did end up stitching 6 letters all together, and even though it's not a ton of stitching, it does take a minute. When I got to I tied my floss in a knot when I started on the back, but when I ended, I just ran it underneath my stitches back and forth to secure, and then of course we're going to glue it to the shadow, so it should all stay put. I think the colorful letters really make this card. The pup is absolutely adorable. I love the soft chiffon of the background, but I think what brings it all together are the bright, happy colors of our stitched greeting. I even think an entire background made with these letters would be very cute. I would love if Spellbinders would have a whole alphabet of these. I really like these. I think they're very fun. So once we have all of these stitched, and again, reverse tweezers, I know I am a broken record, but they are your best friend here because they help you hold all of those letters in place when you're gluing pieces together. Letters or images, depending on what you're stitching. So definitely have a couple of pairs handy when you're working with things like this. And just quickly back and forth. Man, I really wish I could stitch this fast in real life. How about you guys? Now, because I've glimmered the background of my card today, and I want to stamp, normally, if I just had a solid background or a stenciled background, etc., I would stamp right over the top of it. Because I don't want to stamp over the top of the glimmer, because it will likely serve as a resist. I am actually going to stamp my sentiment from the Deck the Paws stamp on a separate piece of chiffon cardstock using Lawn Fawn Lobster Red ink, and then I'll use a sentiment strip die of some sort, or you can just use a paper trimmer to cut that out to add to the card to finish off the sentiment. I am rather impressed with how well Deck the Paws with Love and Lights, Fa La La, goes together. I think it's so cute. I added some white pin detail to my little pup image now that I'm done. Added that on top of the glossy accents on the nose and the highlights on the eyes. And then we are going to trim down our glimmered background to 4 by 5 1/4. Glue it to our white top fold card base. Start by adhering our pup kind of in the center along the bottom edge. Place foam adhesive on the back of our pup and all of our letters and our sentiment strip, which I haven't stamped quite yet. And then starting in the middle of the Fa La La, I would suggest anytime you have to put together or build out some sort of a greeting with alphabet, go ahead and start in the center and work your way out from there. That's going to ensure that you get a nice even distribution of your letters. I did make a couple of quick little adjustments there. And then of course, we're going to pop the pup right in place. Look how cute this is. Okay, we're going to add some red gems from Spellbinders, kind of scatter these throughout. It's not a finished card without a few gems, right? I love these red gems. I think they're just the perfect little finishing touch. We'll stamp that sentiment on the chiffon cardstock, cut it out, and pop it up right above the Fa La La. And that is going to completely finish off our card. And we can move on to our 2024 die. So the 2024 die is Warm Wishes. And again, I thought it was so funny that both 2024 and 2025 featured a sentiment for day 7. And for this, it's more of a backstitch style sentiment for the word warm. So minimal stitching really for this die. I die cut the word warm from Tutu cardstock, the word wishes from Pomegranate, and then the shadow for the words from Chiffon. Just like our first card, I did go ahead and glimmer a second panel with our Artic Glimmer plate using the white foil on that chiffon background. And this time, instead of using the Deck the Paws, we're going to use Cozy Waddles. Now, if you watched my video for day 6 that featured the polar bear and penguin, I actually used a sentiment from this stamp die combo for that card. So if you've already picked it up, you're good to go. You can use it again. I used Snow Glad We're Friends for that card. Today, we're going to use You're a True Gift. The other option from this stamp set is Waddle, I Do Without You This Christmas. What I love about the sentiments in all of these from the Merry Mischief collection, this font is my favorite. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was introduced last year when they did the Cozy Toes sets, part of the club kits, and it's one of my favorites. I think it's very unique. I like how it's kind of that handwritten kind of look, and it's a really, really good size. So really fun. And it's going to be the perfect addition to our Warm Wishes sentiment. Now, this was a little time consuming just because when I am doing a back stitch, I don't do it as a traditional back stitch. I do it as a running stitch, one direction, and then I come back. I did have to get 2 different strands of floss. I was able to get the A, R, and M all stitched with the first 3 strands. I used 3 strands for all of my paper stitching, and then I did have to get a little bit more floss to finish the W. But I have all of my little windows that I have trimmed down into cards and punched a hole in and put on a ring. I highly recommend that. I know you can't see it because I'm stitching right here in camera, but it's underneath me on the desk. The reason I suggest keeping these is it shows you how your dies go together. And in this instance, it also shows you how to stitch or how to backstitch the words for this. So just in case you would be tempted to maybe kind of stitch it kind of funny, and I didn't do it here. I wish I would have shown that now that they say that, but it definitely shows you how to stitch it. And so I like having these as reference just so that I can refer to this as I am building my dies. You know, sometimes you get a year out or so and you can't remember how maybe something goes together. So this is just an easy way for me to have these on hand so I can always reference them. Okay, let's go ahead and finish stitching the W, and then we'll put together the adorable penguins. Now, this set is another one that is super easy to put together. And I did make one small adjustment to this, or addition. Not really an adjustment. I added to it. If you guys remember, from day 6 from 2024 was the penguin. I featured it in yesterday's card project for StitchMiss 2025. And I used the stocking cap on the penguin, but at the time I told you that it also comes with earmuffs. I got this idea. I thought, I wonder if the earmuffs would fit on one of my penguins from this set, from the Merry Mischief set. So I grabbed my dies and I die cut the earmuffs, and what do you know? It did fit, and I thought it was the cutest little addition to this penguin set. So after I get them assembled, and you can see super easy layering pieces for the white portions of the penguins, and then we're going to, I love how they're in the same scarf. I just think that's so cute. Got their little beaks in place, added some little pink cheeks with some pink ink on a little mini blending brush. Gonna add their little feet. These are easy to add as well because they have that nice little solid piece that you can just fit the body right on. And then we're going to take those little earmuffs and I am going to glue these together. So I was testing it there. I was thinking it was going to work. And what do you know? It totally did. I was so excited. So let me get this down first and then I'll put the other little puffy part on. Look at that. Isn't that the cutest? I absolutely was thrilled that that worked out. This is why I always say, try mixing and matching. You never know what's going to work together. And it's one of my favorite things to do, finding things that will work like this. Then we're going to pop up our penguins. We're going to pop up warm wishes. I've also stamped You're a True Gift with lobster red ink on another piece of chiffon cardstock. And then we're going to adhere that sentiment strip right above the penguins and then finish with warm wishes. And I felt like we needed just a little something else. And I love the holly berries and leaves from the Christmas Barn Star set. I've also featured that multiple times. I love, love, love it. So I did die cut the little leaves and berries from that. You may have other sets that have holly berries and leaves, so just check and see what you have. But I think that adds just a lovely little extra something to this card. Then we of course are going to finish with a scattering of our red gems again. I also grabbed pink gems and we're going to use the pink gems on the scarf and the red gems scattered throughout the rest of the card. And that is going to be it, friends. These are my 2 cards for 12 Days of Stitchmas 2025 with a little bonus of 2024. We are also featuring new dies from the Merry Mischief collection from Spellbinders in today's video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly love sharing creativity with this amazing community of crafters. A special thank you goes out to my wonderful Patreon members. I appreciate you all so much. If you'd like to join us on Patreon, you'll find the link in the video description below. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do and enjoy exclusive content, behind-the-scenes updates, and extra perks. There's something for everyone, and we'd love to have you join our growing community. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.